Hello everyone and welcome to my B&B Fan Club channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Luna Nozawa's world fell apart in the murky, echoing halls of the Los Angeles County Jail, where the air was thick with the stench of sorrow and institutional bleach. She'd been jailed on murder accusations weeks before, and her life was unraveling like a badly knit sweater under the unrelenting scrutiny of the bold and the beautiful elite circle. Accusations flew like daggers, poisoning Tom Starr and Hollis, and her desperate fight for survival was turned into cold-blooded calculation by those who never understood her dark history. But nothing, not the frigid bars or the judgmental eyes, could have prepared her for the agony she felt in the middle of the night. It began with a stinging cramp, a hint of pain she disregarded as stress-related agony. Luna held her abdomen while curled on the thin mattress of her cage, mumbling prayers to a God she scarcely believed in. The jail nurse, tired and dubious, dismissed it as female troubles at first, but when the blood became intense, persistent, and soaked through her uniform, fear set in. Alarms sounded, guards came in, and Luna was hurried to the infirmary, her screaming reverberating off the concrete walls. "My baby!" she shouted, tears flowing down her cheeks. "Please save my baby." But it was too late. The miscarriage took the tiny life growing inside her, a secret she had passionately guarded during the tumult. The child, Bill Spencer's child, or so she thought, disappeared in a wave of blood and ruined dreams. Word traveled rapidly throughout the Spencer Publications empire. Bill Spencer, the titan of tabloids and tycoon of temptations, received the call from his palatial home overlooking the city lights. His phone buzzed repeatedly, but Steffi's anxious voice cut through his latest scotch-fueled haze. "Bill, it's Luna. She's lost the baby. In prison. They say it's yours." The glass dropped from his grasp and shattered on the marble floor, like his delusions of invulnerability. Bill's face crumbled, the harsh lines of his jaw softening into something raw and vulnerable. A man stripped naked. Tears streamed uncontrollably down his aged face. Regret washed over him in waves, a tidal force of what-ifs and should-haves. He had discounted Luna's paternity claims, laughing off her desperation as gold-digging deception, despite his own suspicions. Now the reality of her suffering in that hellhole, carrying his future successor and then losing it, tore him apart. The next morning, Bill burst into the hospital wing of the jail, his fancy suit rumpled and his eyes burning from a sleepless night of pacing and self-recrimination. Security attempted to prohibit him, but his Spencer name and a barrage of legal threats shattered the barriers like the Red Sea. Luna was pale and hollow-eyed, lying on a sterile bed with 4 drips snaking into her arms. "Luna!" he cried out, dropping onto the chair beside her. "God, what have I done?" She slowly turned her head, her dark eyes catching his with a mix of rage and incomprehensible anguish. "You didn't believe me, Bill. You let them lock me up like a criminal and now, our baby is gone." Her voice broke and new tears flowed. Bill reached for her hand but she drew away, extending the gap between them with each heartbeat. Meanwhile, Bridget Forrester paced around the Forrester Creations design studio like a caged lioness. Luna's half-sister, a renowned doctor, had access to medical records that others could only dream about. But she was motivated by more than professional curiosity. It was family loyalty, laced with the sour taste of betrayal. Bridget had conducted the DNA testing in secret, using samples from Luna's prenatal care and Bill's own cheek swab, obtained during a routine health check that he had never suspected. The lab printer returned her results, which showed a 99.9% match. Luna's child had been Bill's. The evidence was irrefutable, a scientific smack in the face of disbelief. Bridget's hands trembled as she held the envelope. She had warned Bill and pleaded with him to consider the idea, but his pride had blinded him. Bridget's determination deepened as Luna miscarried while in prison. She stormed inside Spencer Publications, ignoring the confused receptionist with the confidence of a woman on a mission. Bill's office door swung open, and he sat there, staring blankly at a photograph of Luna from happier, deceiving times. "Bill Spencer, you fool," Bridget said, slapping the DNA results on his desk. "Look at this. It's yours. The baby was yours, and because of your arrogance it's gone." Bill examined the document, the paternity confirmation springing off the page like an indictment. His breath caught, and the tears returned hotter and more plentiful. He buried his face in his hands, his shoulders heaving with cries that rang against the glass walls. No? Oh God, no. I was wrong. I should have trusted her, protected her. Regret came out in a torrent, memories of their passionate nights, her whispers of love among the lies, and the way he had turned his back when she needed him the most. Bridget stood motionless at first, her heart breaking for the niece or nephew lost, but sympathy softened her position. It's not just about regret, Bill. Luna's in there broken, and the world needs to know the truth. Paternity dismissed? Hardly. This proves everything. The controversy spread through the media Bill owned. The headlines read, Spencer heir lost in prison tragedy. They were fueled by insider leaks and Bridget's unwavering demand for justice. Ridge Forrester, ever the moral compass, confronted Bill in the hospital, fist clenched. You did this, Spencer. Your doubt sent her there. Bill, still in tears, could only nod, the weight of his mistakes crushing him. Luna, released on bail thanks to Brooke's intervention, another layer of Logan Spencer drama, appears fragile but fiery, promising to rebuild from the ashes. As the days progressed into weeks, Bill's tears of regret turned to action. He directed resources on Luna's defense and engaged the greatest lawyers to dismantle the murder charges, exposing Poppy's hidden realities and Lee's manipulations. Bridget became Luna's rock, watching her recuperation with delicate care. And the DNA confirmation was more than just a bombshell. It was a bridge to reconciliation. Bill paid Luna a secret visit at her small apartment, bringing flowers and apologies that felt like redemption. I failed you, he confessed one evening as rain pelted the windows. But I'll spend my life making it right. Luna, her spirit bruised by loss, forgave in bits. The miscarriage had left a gap in her heart where dreams of motherhood previously bloomed. But Bill's genuine guilt chipped away at her barriers. Their chats delved into the past, her dishonest methods stemming from abandonment, his playboy persona covering daddy concerns from his own damaged childhood. Bridget mediated, combining her medical expertise with sisterly wisdom to ensure Luna's well-being, while unraveling the family's tangled web. The bold and the beautiful's canvas widened with this revelation. Hope Logan, watching from afar, noticed connections with her own heartbreaks and whispered to Liam about second chances. Steffi, as realistic as ever, pressed Bill to demonstrate his transformation, while Finn combined allegiance to the Forresters with compassion for Luna's suffering. Even Deacon Sharp, ever the opportunist, offered Luna a job at his restaurant, seeing a narrative that would raise his prestige. Bill's metamorphosis was profound. The man who once governed with an iron fist and a silver tongue now advocates for jail reform, turning his pain into a campaign for better maternity care in prison. His tears, which were previously private, became public evidence in interviews, humanizing the mogul. I dismissed paternity because I feared vulnerability, he admitted on live television, with the DNA report projected behind him. But truth has a way of demanding reckoning. Luna, recuperating under Bridget's watchful supervision, began drawing designs. Her creative spark revived, possibly as a reference to Forrester ancestry. The sisters bonded over their shared sorrow, with Bridget confessing her own miscarriages, forming an unshakable relationship. Bill recommended establishing a trust fund in the baby's memory, which Luna accepted as the first step toward co-parenting a future rather than a ghost. But shadows lingered. Lee Finnegan, fearing exposed, devised countermeasures, her envy of Luna's Spencer connections propelling sabotage. Poppy Nozawa, consumed with guilt, revealed parts of the past, describing Luna's chaotic origins. The DNA evidence reverberated across the Spencer lineage, calling into doubt other fathers, Will, Liam, and even echoes of Dollar Bill's heritage. In a climactic rooftop encounter under starry skies, Bill knelt before Luna, tears streaming once again. Marry me. Not out of guilt, but love rediscovered. She paused, the prison spirits whispering doubts, but Bridget's nod, holding the DNA envelope like a talisman, tipped the scale. Yes, Luna said quietly, their embrace confirming paternity's vindication. The plot alternated between betrayals and redemptions, with the miscarriage serving as a watershed moment, changing foes into allies. Bill's tears of regret washed away ancient transgressions, while Bridget's proof exposed long-buried facts. In the world of B&B, where love defies logic and families divide then merge, Luna's death spawned improbable togetherness, demonstrating that even in dismissal, destiny demands its due. Luna sat in the chilly, sterile confines of the cage, her hands lightly resting on her abdomen, a spot that had previously been a source of hope and anticipation. But now the calm dread hung over her like a thick fog. She'd lost the baby, and the sadness was overwhelming. She could sense the emptiness where there had once been life, a hollow ache that permeated her entire existence. The walls surrounding her appeared to close in, mocking her frailty and reminding her that she could not escape this misery. Her mind raced with questions, recollections of never-to-be-repeated experiences, and dreams snatched away before they could take shape. She wanted to cry out, scream in frustration, but the prison walls muffled every sound. Outside, the world went on without stopping, unconcerned with her agony. Bill, oblivious of Luna's anguish, has been dealing with his own issues. The news of the miscarriage had broken him, leaving him impotent, staring into a void of remorse and self-recrimination. He had always prided himself on being tough and in control, but this was a blow he couldn't take with the customary calm. The tears came unexpectedly, breaking through the stern facade he had always maintained. He cried not only for the kid who would never be born, but also for the decisions that had brought them here, the moments he wished he could change, and the helplessness that now defined him. Bridget had stood nearby, seeing the raw outpouring of passion with sympathy and determination. She knew better than anyone how delicate and volatile the situation had become. She had seen the sorrow on Luna's face, observed Bill's collapse, and realized that the next steps would determine whether relationships could be saved or destroyed beyond repair. She clutched a document, a DNA report, with the potential to confirm or reject a reality that had hung over them all like a heavy cloud. The tension was palpable, the type of silence that presses against your chest and makes breathing impossible. Bridget finally spoke, her voice calm but powerful, breaking through the suffocating atmosphere. She announced the findings of the DNA test, and the repercussions were immediate and significant. The reality, as revealed by the report's scientific certainty, has the power to either repair or further damage their already delicate ties. Each revelation triggered a wave of emotions: relief, fury, sadness, and a feeling of justice delayed but not denied. Bill's tears were not only for the lost child, but also for the uncertainty and anxiety that had consumed him, the dread that he had been duped or misled. The miscarriage had already irreversibly altered Luna's life, but the DNA discovery added another layer to the tangled web of emotions. She had an odd blend of sorrow and clarity, the anguish for the life lost combined with her increased awareness of her situation, and while the pain persisted, there was a glimmer of hope for resolution. It wasn't perfect, nor was it free of bitterness or fury, but it was a step toward regaining some agency in a circumstance that had rendered her powerless. Bill struggled to reconcile his regret with the certainty provided by the DNA results. He had envisioned a different life, one full of family and joy, but it suddenly seemed impossible to achieve. Each tear he wept demonstrated his humanity, the deep emotional resonance of a man faced with the repercussions of both circumstance and decision. In his sorrow, he discovered a knowledge of vulnerability that he had previously avoided, a reminder that strength is defined not only by stoicism, but also by the ability to feel, face, and endure. Meanwhile, Bridget's role had been critical. Her determination to find the truth and provide clarity to an ambiguous issue demonstrated her perseverance and intelligence. She understood the value of proof, as well as the need of confronting reality, no matter how unpleasant it was. In doing so, she became a balancing influence in an emotional storm, a light of reason in the middle of chaos. Her dedication to transparency demonstrated her integrity, and it reminded everyone around her that even in times of tremendous turmoil, honesty is an essential lifeline. The mix of sadness, remorse, and revelation generated a tension that felt almost painful at moments. Luna's grief was exacerbated by her seclusion, Bill's regret heightened by his helplessness to repair the past, and Bridget's discoveries highlighted the fragility of human expectations. Each individual was traversing an emotional terrain in which previous choices intersected with present reality, and the consequences of deliberate and unintentional actions were brought into clear focus. As the days went, the immediate shock faded into introspection, Luna found herself reminiscing on her experiences, the hardships that had brought her to this point, and the strength that had gotten her through times of great sorrow. The miscarriage, while painful, served as a catalyst for self-reflection, forcing her to confront not only her sadness but also the strength that lay dormant within her. She understood that while she couldn't erase the past, she could choose how to move forward, how to incorporate this experience into her life story, and how to restore a feeling of meaning and agency. Bill's experience paralleled this procedure in numerous ways. His tears of sadness evolved into a meditative sense of responsibility and empathy. He realized that his earlier definition of strength had been flawed, and that true courage required the resolve to accept one's own flaws and embrace vulnerability. The DNA revelation, while initially causing tension, eventually gave a foundation for clarity, helping him to navigate his emotions with greater accuracy and understanding. Bridget continued to play an important role in their lives, acting as a mediator and moral compass. Her commitment to truth and justice, and her willingness to share facts even when it was difficult, reminded people around her that clarity frequently needs courage. She exemplified the value of confronting reality head-on, tackling uncertainty with uncompromising honesty rather than evasion. Her presence brought a sense of calm, confidence that even in the most trying circumstances, reason and integrity could win. Luna, Bill, and Bridget's connected experiences demonstrated the complexities of human relationships and the devastating impact of unexpected events. Miscarriage, emotional breakdown, and the discovery of fatherhood were not isolated episodes. They were catalysts that revealed the depth of human feeling, the fragility of trust, and the strength of the human spirit. Each person's response, which was influenced by personality, circumstance, and emotional history, exhibited a range of coping techniques, from despair and loss to reflection and final acceptance. Over time, the fervor of the original reactions gave way to a more nuanced comprehension. Luna began to handle her grief with a mix of sadness and resolve, finding little ways to reclaim control of her life. Bill's sorrow turned into constructive introspection, allowing him to incorporate lessons acquired from heartbreak and disappointment into a broader sense of duty and compassion. Bridget's unwavering commitment to truth and transparency remained a guiding concept, emphasizing the importance of honesty and integrity in times of uncertainty. The story of loss, revelation, and emotional reckoning highlighted the interconnectivity of human experiences. Each episode, however unpleasant in isolation, added to a bigger tapestry of growth, insight, and resilience. Miscarriage, paternity testing, and emotional confrontation were not just narrative lines. They were catalysts for significant human transformation, forcing each character to confront their flaws, embrace empathy, and cultivate resilience in the face of hardship. The aftermath of these events had an indelible impact on everyone involved. Luna's sadness served as a catalyst for introspective growth, prompting her to reconsider her objectives, relationships, and personal boundaries. Bill's tears of remorse turned into a greater understanding of emotional complexity, recognizing that strength and vulnerability are not mutually exclusive, but rather complementing parts of human experience. Bridget's intervention emphasized the necessity of clarity, honesty, and courage, emphasizing that the truth, while often unpleasant, is necessary for the repair of trust and navigating life's difficulties. Ultimately, the convergence of personal tragedy, emotional reckoning, and factual disclosure demonstrated the resiliency of the human spirit. It showed people's ability to endure, adapt, and evolve in the face of seemingly insurmountable obstacles. Each character's path, marked by sadness, contemplation, and final clarity, exemplified the complex interaction of circumstance and decision, emotion and reason, despair and hope. While the events were obviously awful, they also gave chances for reflection, growth, and new understanding. Luna, Bill, and Bridget all emerged from this period of turbulence with a more sophisticated understanding of themselves and one another, stronger not by avoiding hardship, but by choosing to embrace it. The loss, emotional breakdown, and discovery of fatherhood were all transforming experiences that shaped the course of their lives and relationships in both challenging and enlightening ways. Finally, the story of loss and revelation highlighted a universal truth: that life, despite its unpredictability and sorrow, requires tenacity, courage, and empathy. Individuals can discover a road ahead by experiencing loss and regret, confronting reality, and embracing truth, even in the most difficult of circumstances. Luna, Bill, and Bridget's journey was more than just a story of loss. It was a tribute to human endurance, the force of emotional honesty, and the transforming possibility of confronting life's most significant obstacles with courage and integrity. The story stayed seared in their minds as a daily reminder of the fragility of life, the unpredictability of circumstances, and the value of emotional truthfulness. Luna's anguish, Bill's tears, and Bridget's unwavering devotion to truth all demonstrated the profound power of human connection, the weight of duty, and the importance of compassion in traversing complex emotional landscapes. Each character, transformed by experience, emerged with a better awareness of themselves and the world around them, ready to face the future with renewed clarity, resilience, and optimism.